Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome to another second breakfast with me and whoever shows up. It's finally Friday. The weekend's almost here, and it's been a hell of a week. Got a lot of stuff done. Some things I didn't expect to do. Some surprises, and how you guys doing out there? Cake. Morning. I don't know if you guys saw the video I dropped this morning where I talked about the new Everweave AI DM. I'm guessing it's running D&D 5.0. I really don't know. It seems like it. So I'm playing 5e, I guess. Oh, you're playing Gaslands. Well, you got to go check out Armstrong's channel, Mad Eye Miniatures. He is the king of Gaslands, the king of cheap builds, the king of crazy builds. Go check him out. Tell him I said hi. I saw a couple of his videos, but well, I listened to them while I was painting and doing some other stuff. And he's a great guy. He's in my Sunday D&D game. Has been for 2.5 years now. So I'll see him this Sunday unless he's sick or something like that. So after the video, I went back and played the remaining moves that I have. I guess you get like 60 messages a day, which is okay. I guess I don't know how to really rate that. I did go up to second level, but it was weird because I only really took out two goblins and two orcs, which was kind of amazing considering I thought I was rolling up a rogue or a thief that just so happened to get spells, but somehow it made my character a warlock, and I'm like, what the huh? And so I've got like your stereotypical magic missile and mage armor and a couple other uh, spells, I guess. Yes, obviously, Omen. His channel linked to mine? No. Can it be? I didn't know that was really a thing. Just look up Mad Eye Miniatures and tell him I said hey. Uh, he can use all the support he can get. He makes some great, crazy stuff out of like either really expensive pieces that it cost him an arm and a leg, or just your basic like sometimes just card stock and bottle caps, and you'd never guess. Uh, Oben, it was not too bad. I mean, what they want to charge you, you can either go just flat out messages, which is really really dumb, or a subscription rate. But I'm like, I don't have a lot of time to play video games, so if they give me 60 messages a day and it left me at a cliffhanger, which was like, hey, cool place to stop. I'll go read some more instead, which uh, I need to do more of now that I've got an actual like really. I got two more finishing touches on my fireplace room because we have a fireplace room and then like a living room. So one's the family room, one's a fireplace, or one's a living room, and nobody's allowed in the fireplace room unless there's a fire going, or Jackie takes my easy chair to play video games, which he's been doing a lot lately since I spruced up the place. But I'm getting a new easy chair and a new couch next month or the month after, and then I'll put up some framed posters that I'd like to get hung up. Maybe one of Jackie's maps, and the wife wants to put like a rug in there, and I'm like, there's a fireplace in here, right? Yeah, let's not do that. It's just I don't know. And we're thinking about recarpeting the upstairs with wood instead of carpet because carpet's disgusting. And as much as we vacuum and shampoo it, it's still just it's been here since we've been here. Time for a change. Unfortunately, that means the studio will get completely dismantled for that to happen, and we'll see. It'll be the last room to get done, but it's turned into like almost everybody's favorite room of the house, and that's not okay because it's like No, this is you get your girly room over there with all the plants and flowers and stuff like that. A bearskin rug by the fireplace, sure. It's not that big a room, so any sparks, which there have been quite a few, catch pop out on that thing, and it's going to go up like yeah, no, yeah. We've got a few throw rugs downstairs because we have all tile downstairs, but I don't like them either because they're just a pain. I'd rather just vacuum, mop, and call it a day, than have to take them out and beat them and vacuum them and shampoo them and all that crap. For the most part, I walk around in socks anyways, so not really dirtying up the place, by going in and out. My dog, on the other hand, oh my god, he is a leaf magnet. He cannot go outside in the front yard or the backyard. A small bear. I was thinking more like a chewy skin rug. When he's dead, just he'll go outside no matter what time of year it is, unless it's snowing. I guess it's only happened twice, and he will come back with a leaf attached to his face. I don't know how he does it. Just somehow there's a leaf there, and then if you try to take the leaf away from him, he's like, "No, that's a fashion statement." So he's a weirdo. The woman's work. Yeah, well, hey, the wife works. Grandma's not here. When grandma comes back, I wouldn't let her near a vacuum cleaner if my life depended on it. The first vacuum cleaner we got here, she literally ran over the cord and ruined it on the first day. So just because she's functionally retarded doesn't mean she's functional. Um, so who does your floors in your place, Omen? Because I know that place is spotless. So you're either you got some maid that comes in that you don't talk about, which I don't blame you, or you got the boy doing it, or you're doing it. Who's doing it, Owen? Uh, and I've been doing that kind of stuff since I could because my parents, they just couldn't vacuum or sweep, which is weird. I don't know how they survived prior to my being born and stuff. I have no memories. We never had a maid, did we? No, I don't think we ever had a maid. We had. Oh wait, no, we did. We did really, really early when we moved in the first place. I know we didn't have one at the apartment, and we had a gardener until I could push the lawnmower, and then suddenly that was my job at the age of 6. And it was a gas mower. Who do we got here? I'm betting it's Omen to come answer for his crimes against humanity. What's up, Omen?
No, I have some I have some nice rugs I got from Afghanistan, but
Uh-huh.
if I'm ever going to have someone clean them, it's probably going to be a Roomba or something.
Yeah, we've actually got one of those too, and I hate it because it sucks. It's not very good. It gets caught up on the dumbest little things, and even then, a real vacuum cleaner because all it does is just
Yeah,
kind of sweep with the circular thing, and hopefully it picks it up, which is also retarded because it's carrying capacity is about the size of a 16-ounce bottle, and I guarantee there's way more dust on the floor than that every time we turn it on, and then it gets caught up on the dumbest little things, or it'll get stuck when it tries to go into tight spaces and it can't figure its way out. Mind you, it's an older model, but still, I'm like, I'll just vacuum. It'll be fine.
I'm just teasing you for the whole thing.
Oh,
It's,
I know.
but but yeah, no, but that's what children are for, you know, boy.
Sure, if my child was ever home and didn't have homework to do all the time, I still put him to work in the backyard, doing yard work and things like that. But right now, good grades and doing all that is far more important than that stuff. He knows how to do it. He's not
I know.
he's
I'm
not
just
dumb. He's just smart enough to figure out hey, if I just say I got homework to do, and look like I'm doing homework or leave homework to the last minute.
Well, what is he going to do in the summer?
We don't know yet.
Well, now
He's
you
planning
do.
on going. What?
Sorry.
He's planning on going to a local community college for 2 years. I don't know how
Good.
he's paying for that because I'm not. And then after that, we'll see. If he can get into a university or something like that.
If
If
he can get an associate's from a community college, it's really easy to get into universities. People act like it's a big deal, but from personal experience, um, they would always wait last for us. But basically, if you had the associates in whatever field you were going to go in,
Sure.
they almost automatically accepted you, and they didn't care about your grades.
Yeah.
That
He's also talking about doing National Guard at some point. Uh,
that would be a good thing, but then you wouldn't see him for the summer, and
um,
but he would come back with money, with a little bit of money at
which
least.
he's going to need because I am not paying to put him through university, knowing how that's going to turn out.
Isn't California free?
What do you mean free? Nothing's free here.
I thought California used to have their universities for free. They were in the 80s.
I have no idea. You're fighting a dust war. It's like a Tyranid invasion. Uh, that sounds really really bad. I live in the desert and we get dust storms, so it's always dusty here.
I will say something for your son, whether he does well in AP or not. If he doesn't
Which
do
he
well in
has.
AP, is still have him do the CLEP test. Like I said, I took a whole semester off. I got 12 credit hours in basically 2 days by just taking CLEP test. So have him do
Yeah.
those. And if
So
he's
send
going
me a
to
link
do,
if you
oh,
can, because I will forget.
sure.
Uh, Grimm sent us, or I think he sent us some other stuff that supposedly he can get, help financing and things like that. He's doing really well in like all of his classes, but one, which I want to say it's like Spanish that he's getting like a C in, and I'm like, what?
Because
I mean,
it has more to do with grammar than it does have to do with speaking the language.
yeah, no, his problem has always been not doing the required work.
Oh yeah, but
You
that was
know,
my problem too. But
he'll do great on the tests and function and whatever. But when they tell him go home and do this, he says, "Yeah, I know, I'm not doing that."
you know what though? Then he'll do fine in college. um, yeah, a lot of it's busy work, and you're just like, why?
Right? It's like we pay you, our taxes pay you to make sure they get the education they need while they're under your care, not mine. Otherwise, I would have homeschooled him and he would have failed miserably. Um,
Well, I don't know what you said. Homeschooling's easy. I don't understand why everyone makes it so hard.
Well, because I once he got past, your basic math, I'd have been lost. And the math he's doing, it doesn't even look like math to me. It looks like some sort of, witchcraft or alchemy or something. I have no clue how he does it or how he understands it. But
Is
he
he
was
in
doing that
calculus
in middle
or is he?
school. So 6 years ago, I would have been like,
Is he in calculus or trig?
I don't know.
Oh, really?
I don't remember. I don't even think he's taking math. I don't think he's taken math in like this whole year.
Then he might just be in trig. He might have just finished up trig or something. But yeah, it's. But
But
yeah,
he did like the last 2 years were all AP classes. I don't know how
okay,
that
yeah.
works, but we'll see. And then he wants to become a teacher, and I'm like, where? The way the country's going, you're going to open your mouth, and you're going to be exiled. So
Well, you can work in private. You can also be a tutor, or
he
there's.
wants to teach history.
Okay, well then he better join the military. Um, it's actually I joke
But
about that, but I know that.
it wouldn't be bad for him at all. He was, he'd toughen up, and he'd get everything paid for him. And if anything bad ever happened to us, he'd still have all the big things that he needs. When it comes to
Well, if he
the
does, like I said, he can always, to me, join the National Guard, try to get an ROTC scholarship, become a reserve officer, and then he can do whatever he wants. Because then, if he gets an ROTC scholarship, here's one that if he, if he wants to do more than history, and I hate saying this, is anyone that's going to get a history degree, go to Amazon, find 200 books that are about history, and there's a bunch of different ones all out there, and read
Mhm.
one a week, and you'll be better educated than just about anyone that went through a history course. Um, that's a
There's
lot
no
less
play.
risk.
There's no outside of high school. There's no big demand for history, and God only knows what they're going to force him to teach, as in the curriculum that will be different than the way he knows it to be, and he's not very good at lying. And lying on a mass scale like that would probably crush him.
Well, you can always teach in like a community college. It's not that there's stuff that you could, but again, they don't pay well. My suggestion's always been get a different thing. So
Hmm. He has so many other talents that make money. Between graphic design and art and anything else that's his own sort of creative thing, stands a better
yes.
chance of making more money than anything else he might choose to do, like teaching or whatever.
Oh yeah, I'm not against that. Um,
But you know how kids are. What I should do is I should encourage the hell out of him to teach as much history as possible, so he'll rebel and go into something else.
oh yeah.
That always
Well,
works.
I think things solve out as you start realizing, what. But
That your parents aren't idiots? Oh, absolutely.
well, I'm not saying that, but it's like, look, if you're really going to do this, go. My biggest thing is I had a girlfriend, and she did psychology, and she minored in biology, and she got through almost all 4 years, and she was doing actually some interesting stuff on cortisol and things like that, and was doing stuff in the brain. But because she
Mhm.
didn't have, I'm sorry, her minor was in business. Anyway, she found out that she didn't have the biology, so they basically told her she needs to go back and take 2 years of biology before they'll take her in a master's program. And so
That's what I studied in college as well.
you're
That's
better off.
psychology.
My view on this is get as hard sciences as you can, and it's a lot easier to switch into one of the lesser stuff than have to
Yeah,
go
that's
back
the
and
other thing
take
he's
years.
doing is aerospace something or other. Because I mean, we're right down the street from Skunk Works. If he played his cards right and sort of focused in on that, he'd have a job. You know, I don't even think it's 15 minutes away, and a straight shot down the road, and
Well, my friend, once she got her top secret security clearance, that's what they were really paying for, and where she got a master's in material science. And of course, she was a mechanical engineer, and she was complaining that she wasn't getting a promotion. I'm like, why do you want to be a manager? She's like, well, it's good. Anyway, she got so fed up, but because she had the top secret security clearance and she was working for Northrop Grumman, and then she worked for Raytheon, then she bounced back and forth between different things. But once you get that security clearance, then she said, "Oh, well, I'll apply to Raytheon." They offered her a $25,000 pay raise and a $25,000 bonus sign on. And
okay.
no, I mean that was really good for that. Now, of course, she didn't want to live in California, so she moved to Houston and took a hit in pay. But that's like that. Really, it's like, why do you want to be a manager? Well, I want. It was more about the prestige. I said, all you're
Yeah.
doing is going to create more stress for yourself. I
Yep.
said, why are
Yep.
you doing that? I mean, unless there's something specific, not just that you want to be a manager, but you're saying, hey, I want to do this because I want to do X. That's one thing. But all too often, people seem to take these positions not because they enjoy them, but because the pay's better, and they find out, but I have no social life. I have no life. I get calls
Yep.
on like Saturday night, you know, because this happened to one of my friends. Two of his coworkers, one basically choked out the other one off site, off work, so it wasn't work related, and he had to deal with that crap. And it's like, oh my god. Um, anyway, ignoring that part. Uh, it's, but yes, those are just things that when I look at is people should have um, whatever's going in there. Boy, they are really selling the. I know that Modiphius had Dune out there, but every time I was like, but I have basically have all the stuff I was interested in. I'm not sure I really like the system because it was so different than the Conan or the regular 2D20. I know DM James enjoyed it, but I think that's when you're talking about AI. I what I found out is I can throw in modules and it will allow me to look stuff up. Now, of course, I'm using Chat GPT. I'm hearing Grok. I hear different things about which ones are better for which tasks.
I alternate back and forth. Lately, I've been using Grok because it seems to actually spend a little more time and give me a more comprehensive lists of things. Like one of the first things I did that really impressed me was I asked it for a list of every single superpower used in comic books, TVs, and movies, and give me definitions and list them in order, of power. The weakest to the most powerful, and damn, it gave me enough to freaking use, just like import that right into a superhero role playing game that would be more comprehensive than any of the superhero games I've seen. Just like, dang, that's a lot of shit. But I think I lost that conversation, or I could go back and maybe look at it, or have it just do it again, and who knows
Sure.
what else it will add to it. Um, I used it for the video the other day to help me with, speeding up games online, but the problems that the solutions completely omitted the actual faulty human player element,
Well,
which is
but
what
but
was
but, but
focusing
that's
on.
that's a variable to me. And I know that
Well,
I'm always going
it's
back
a
and forth.
variable, but it's a guaranteed.
Well, what I mean is that is not that's not something part of the game system. That's what I mean by that is in
Yeah,
this case
you
is
literally need a degree in herding cats and psychology to make that sort of thing work. Uh,
well, and it's
for
hard for
any, I
certain
mean,
things.
our D&D game is still going strong, but we kind of boiled away some of the weaker
Yeah.
links.
Well, like I said, for
With two
myself, I,
exceptions.
I can be there next week, next weekend, but not this weekend.
Mhm.
We're going down to stuff, and then I have to get.
Are you busy
And actually,
Friday? Are you busy tonight?
I am going to be down in Houston tonight.
Okay, so
So
all
I
right,
mean, I'm going to be phone.
that
Actually,
answers
you
that
know
question.
what? I'm not sure. I'll have to double check on my. I may not be able to make next weekend's D&D game either because I've got. I've, we're doing. This is our inspection time, so I usually leave at 6 a.m. So I get up at 4:30. So I'm like, look, I gotta rest for the
Well,
day before. But
no worries.
but no, I'm just letting you know it's not that.
I
But the
appreciate it.
alien game should be next week. That won't be a problem. Um,
Okay.
and the Friday should be
Yeah,
fine
people were
also.
asking about that one as well.
But yeah, the alien one should be next weekend, and then I know you're doing your giveaway the weekend after that. So
Yep. The provided Jackie can be here, he has some sort of saber thing
sure.
that he's doing, and
Well, this
I
is his last year of high school.
I'm not missing a damn second of it. Not not one thing. It's hopefully we can still pull it off. Just do it later that evening. I mean, all he's got to do is freaking roll some dice, and hit me with a couple of snide comments, and it'll be back to normal, right?
Yeah. Well, I
Uh,
mean, if it really comes down to it, it's like, okay, if you're not free Saturday, let's try it Friday or something.
mhm,
Um, it's well, what are you doing this day? Well, but
mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it.
Sunday is not going to happen just because it's a school night.
I know.
And
That's why I
George,
said
yeah, same with George and Dave. They do work besides doing Arduino, as far as I know, and I don't want to, screw with that. And they got to be there because they've been there for all the other giveaways, and I know they're gonna, donate some stuff to the giveaway. As a matter of fact, one of the things I'm giving away is still in their possession, so there's that. It's funny though, man. The There's Dean. Uh, there's so few people that actually qualified by doing the simplest of things that if worse comes to worse, I'll just draw names out of a hat and go here. This is what you get. You're welcome.
hey, you know what? You got the AI. You can let it randomly do this and do something
That's true.
snarky. You know,
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about you, man?
I'm doing all right compared to earlier today.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna go ahead and talk. I'm just closing the
Yeah.
door because my dog's being a butthead. So what's new, Dean?
Uh, Health is going better, all things considered.
You look better.
Yeah, like
Maybe it's the lighting.
there are some natural lights despite the what do you call it, the rainstorm outside. But yes, but yes, also like it is a little better down the ice. But yeah, just has a little bit of what do you call it, post post flu malaise here earlier today. That's pretty much all of it.
I've been fortunate that vitamin D, which I know is a big thing for you guys up north.
Same here. I've been going out more and doing things like that, and I don't know, man. I've just been getting really, really, really lucky. Plus, I don't go around other people that much. So unless the wife or the boy brings something home with them, I mean, I do go out on the weekends a little, but I've been really, really lucky when it comes to like your colds and flus. Hey, what's up, off grid?
Yeah,
For
I've been
me, it's
doing.
probably just been not so much that I caught a bug or something, but just more that my body needed to clean out because I really had not violently high fever, but like high fevers and like psoriasis or whatever you call it. Like when you get that
Ooh,
dry skin all over.
Oh, okay.
yeah. That sounds
So it
like
was
it's more
probably
than just
more my body needed to clean out.
Yeah, I mean, I've been
Yeah,
taking.
I'm always afraid of that. That there would be nothing left.
Mm.
What's
It
up?
just looked like
What's up, off grid?
Skeletor. That's all.
Yeah. It's just a really, really, really well tailored skin suit. So I got lucky.
Well,
At
Q1
least I
and
didn't
2
get the one. At least I didn't go to the same place Elon and Stephen Greer shop. Oh my God, those two freaking freaks! Oh my lord!
You don't need latitude and longitudinal reference. If you're just up north, you're not getting enough sun.
Yeah, I think
But
that's his way of asking where you're from, Dean.
Oh, I'm from Denmark, so basically a little above New York when it comes to the height of
you're
the
not a
world.
little above New York. You're like way above New York. The reason I mentioned that is because I remember looking in Germany and I was like, it was 49, and I think New York's like 42. And when you start looking at, I'm not sure. I think you're probably somewhere in 51 or so. I mean, that's almost as far as from New York is from like, the Gulf Coast. So it's a long drive.
He's in Canada. Well, Canada's a big freaking place. You have to be a little more specific for us
Yeah,
to be able to,
you could
pinpoint
have been
your
with
area.
the potato farmers. You could have been with the loggers. You could have been with the miners or like the oil pumpers. There's a lot of places you could be from in Canada.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this. So it's not the worst, but 54 degrees, and like I said, I think what is New York? Just mention these things because New York is, um, yeah, people don't understand. Just New York's 40, so you are literally further than it is to go to the southern part of Texas, north than it is for us to go than for New York to go all the way like to the tip of Florida.
I guess New York just needs an ocean then, because I keep having friends complain about all the snow they get.
Yes, yes, no. If you look at it, and this is true, is the Midwest has some of the most extreme temperatures in the world. Um, I think the records have been down to like minus 60, something like that, and the highs have been like 120.
You're in
It's
the wrong place if
Fahrenheit.
you hate winter. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of winter either. The boy,
I like kind of winter, but I also like unless there's like solid snow, it overstays its welcome quickly because all that slush all around, like it's annoying to driving, it's annoying to walk in, and you can't ride your bicycle.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but it just amazes me. Like when I was in Germany, it rarely dropped below 20 degrees, which would be about -5, -6. When I
Yeah.
was, depending where you are in Germany, if you're like right on the water, that's different, like over by Bremen, but, or if you're up in the mountains. But like where I lived, it was by Frankfurt, it rarely got a, -5. I think the hottest I ever got was 40. And, I get more extreme variations here in Texas than I ever did in Germany. So it's kind of, and then your median per month is a lot different.
Yeah.
We've had an unusually cool April, but we had a really hot March. So April so
yeah,
far has been cooler than March has been.
right? I don't know what's going on with the weather here. It looks like it's getting ready to rain, and
We got
then
rain. I'm so happy. We've been in drought. Um,
and then it doesn't. It's like it's gonna rain. Oh nope, it's not gonna rain. It's gonna rain. Doesn't rain. And
Yeah, over
you
here
know,
we usually have like well, it's technically not a monsoon because it's not hot rain, but like we have like a rain season, what you call it, between June and July. Then we get proper summer. Then it starts to rain again, and then the weather realizes that children need to go to school in August, so the hot, dry summer comes back.
yeah, August is absolutely nightmare. August and July and August, we regularly get 110, 120 sometimes, and of course it's fire season, right? Like right on cue, 4th of July, fire season.
That
I
that's
remember.
very unfortunate.
I remember my
Considering we live in,
agency. I haven't seen it in the recent years, but at one point they said they didn't have enough funding, or it could just have been by state, that they had to go fight fires for 3 months a year just to make sure they had the funding. um,
so what are you saying? It's intentional?
no, what I'm saying is that, well, this is what really gets me is all these people
Wouldn't
freaking out.
surprise me.
We have worse weather than ever, and I'm a big when we talk about history, I'm a big historical buff, and I like looking at all of the statistics and things. And you start realizing that the 1930s and 40s were far worse than they are today. But since no one was alive back then, or no one
They can just
remembers,
lie. They can just
well, it's
lie.
not that they lie; they just don't remember. Well, and some of them are just. This is my problem with the media. They're just lazy, like really lazy. I mean, these are things that are, again, I could tell for a while that some of these news reporters were just putting stuff into AI and just letting it spit out, their article, and they would do another stuff. I was like, it shouldn't take me 10 minutes to debunk you. And that's why no one watches them anymore. They're just going downhill. And those are, and really, I don't care what political persuasion, just tell me the truth. Be realistic.
Well,
Whenever people,
this whole last couple of weeks, they've made it abundantly clear that they're just going to say and do whatever it is to make you afraid and keep watching. The fear porn level has been cranked up higher than
Did
I've ever seen it.
Did you know what though? I'm going to bring this up a little differently. At work, it was the weirdest thing because almost no one talked about it.
Because
It's
nobody cared. Nobody believed a word of either side of any particular argument that was going on. It was
well,
just
I
like,
think
you
it.
guys are full of shit. We all know what's going on, and we're not allowed to say what's going on. So we're just going to keep our mouths shut and watch you, dig yourself deeper.
Well,
I see.
actually, I don't think that people are afraid to say anything. I just think that people are just
Well,
exasperated.
online or
Oh no,
anywhere you could be recorded, unless you've got a big channel, in which case you can get away with saying anything, which blows me away. Uh,
actually,
you know,
I mean, I haven't seen that. I haven't felt that. Quite the opposite. Um, but what I've noticed is that kind of it just. I think really now, it's just you can't hide anything, and which is what people are freaking out about. It's like, well, okay, I'm glad the old media is dead. Which is, I just saw them admit that.
practically
Oh,
hibernate. Yeah.
well, I mean, just the whole thing that's up there, and it's like, okay, now we can go actually talk about stuff we care about and not worry about everyone screaming at you. Oh, your players don't match the demographic of whatever we want to pretend to be. I'm like, I don't know. I never had enough players as it could be. We never excluded anyone, unless you were like that
Right.
really weird, creepy guy that was like, unless you had that Epstein feel, we weren't excluding you. Okay, that was.
Um, there was a certain kind of person we just never had at the table. But it wasn't because we wouldn't invite them, because I knew other people that did. We just didn't know anybody like that. Back in my day, there were just, and I lived in California, for Christ's sake.
Sure.
Up until college, I'd only met two gay people, and they happened to be women. So back then, we knew that was fake, and there were no gay men who wanted to be in the hobby that we knew. We just didn't know him. If there were, we didn't know. We wouldn't have excluded them. It's like, okay, just whatever.
Yeah,
Nobody
just
here's
don't hit on
hooking
me.
up,
Don't make things weird. That's all they're asking. Yeah.
and it just wasn't a thing. But then uh, through college, kind of the same thing. Uh, if I played with anybody like that, I didn't know. After that, I had a set group of about 20 people. Again, um, none of that. It wasn't until
Wasn't until we got the theater kids in the 2010s.
no, it was literally 2020 when I started playing online that I actually met people like that, and I still hang out with them uh, regularly. And it's not an issue because we hang out for like 3 or 4 hours. We play the game, we talk, you know, and then we go about our own lives, and it just isn't an issue. But the way it's like, you know,
I
been
just spent.
been advertised, I guess, is way different than the reality that I've experienced.
Well, that's my whole point. It was a performative thing, I think, in many cases, and I was like, "What are you guys
Definitely was
talking
for the
about?"
women.
Well, I just mean the whole thing is the, but I think I saw something where they said showed like in 2010 they to get more clicks they made it more rage baity, um,
Sure.
and everything else. It's like, well, okay, and now they found out, well, we messed up. Like, well, okay, fine, no one cares anymore. You guys are gone. You're irrelevant. And not only that is the people you could have had as allies you completely alienated, and so they wandered off. And
Right. Right.
and
Because
yeah,
literally back in when I got started through like college, we were always looking for good players.
yeah,
And if you're a good player, a good team player, and not a selfish, uh, stage hog or glory hog or whatever, not a problem. Come on in. We're playing from here to here. Bring a drink, bring a snack, because my refrigerator's locked. Um,
oh well,
and
see,
I don't know what you like, which isn't entirely true, because I was famous. Even when I was poor, I would make up a couple of pitchers of blue raspberry Kool Aid, because it looked like what was it, Romulan ale or whatever that
yeah,
blue
yeah.
drink was. and it was good. You know, it's cheap, lots of sugar, and then I would make French bread pizzas because I'd get like 2 or 3 French bread loaves, cut them, you know, slice them, cover 'em, sauce, cheese, pepperoni. Here you go. It was cheap, and I could afford it, and it worked. You know, and we had, you know, great games, great times, great people, and then coming to play online, man,
Yeah, yeah,
totally different, totally different. It's almost like a totally different activity.
yeah. In my experience, which is of course colored by being European and not having the American media blast everything at us, um, I never heard anything about what should we say, people being gay unless like it was university level. But that could also just be because like people below that maybe weren't as sexual active. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, I've always lived in warm environments, except in Virginia. So I just
And
me and
Virginia
cold.
is
I'm just
warm
gonna
and wet.
hibernate. Oh yeah, yeah. I spent most. I probably spent like a third of my life up until my late 20s at the beach or in the desert. I've only seen snow. I mean, I worked in snow for about 3 months for one winter with the forestry department, and it was more ice than snow. It didn't, you know, it didn't suck. It was just, you know, yeah.
Yeah, and awkward. My what do you call it? DMD club was basically kind of what do you call it? A mixture of nerds, me, and what do you call it? People who have figured out, oh, this is much cooler than video games, because it was
Mhm.
still like pre 2000 and whatever, 2010.
You know,
And
that's a weird thing.
the obligate. Sorry, what?
Oh, go ahead. I was
And
just.
the obligatory fat girl, two guys were fucking. Those were
What's
kind of
up
the
with?
people in the
I
club.
never understand that. Never, ever, ever. I've never dated a girl who weighed even close to what I weighed, no matter what, you know, how big or small I was. Cake says here, back in high school, gays were higher on the social ladder than the D&D club. I've never seen anybody in person bullied for being a D&D nerd ever.
I did. I saw plenty of that in the 80s. The 90s, it went away for the most part.
No,
Probably
even in
because I
the
was just
'80s,
older.
like there was my group of D&D nerds, and then there was another group, and the other group were like they were kind of scary in that uh, if it was in the '90s or whatever, they would have been the Columbine kids. You
Oh,
know what I'm saying? I mean, they
Yeah, yeah.
literally
But
had
I'm
that
saying
that
literally.
aura, all camied, you know, and trench coats and shit,
oh
and
my God, that
and
reminds me of a funny story I heard from a friend and serve to interject. But so he had just watched The Matrix. So he's like, oh my God, these trench coats and so forth are cool. The day before the Columbine shooting had happened. So he went to school in a trench coat and sunglasses and yeah.
But I mean, to be fair, in the Midwest,
wow.
because my
Yeah.
God, the evangelicals, which would always amaze me, and that's why I said this. I didn't like you people when you're on the right. I don't like you when you people are on the left. It's the same personality. I want to dictate what you're doing, even if you're not harming anyone. You're doing stuff in your own home. I said I didn't like
So
them.
they all
Go
grew
away.
up to start home ownership associations, and they all need to be tarred and feathered and run out on a rail.
It's and I'm not always against homeowner associations. There's times it makes sense, but I know I
Yeah,
think my
when you're at the
father.
top.
Well, no. This was. It depends on if you there's sometimes where it makes sense. The problem is that when you get that one person who has the power trip, and I also found out something about HOAs is a lot of HOAs are now being formed by the developers of the subdivision, and they are getting money and hiring their friends into those positions, and so they're trying to get more stuff. Those are the problems that they're having. It's not usually the homeowners associations that are like 50 or 60 homes. It's the homeowners associations that have like 1,000 homes in them, and then it's almost impossible to do that.
F that. I wouldn't live under one of those under any circumstance.
Now, my friend lives in one, and he has a homeowners association. But to be fair, he works in oil rigs a lot of times, so it's a gated community with. I'm not even going to say really a guard, but it has a person that allows you to in
Sure,
or out.
and if he's like you say, he's not even home very often, so keeping everything a certain way kind of makes sense, so that there's less incentive for crime. On the
Yes.
other hand, like I like being able to know what kind of person lives in the house near me, and I can tell by what's in their front yard.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know how
That's
they
the first thing I
decorate.
did.
The whole idea of eliminating individuality. I was watching a video last night about UFOs, and I'll talk about that later, um, and communism and that sort of thing. I want to know what you're into, what you like, how you choose to decorate your world by
So
just walking by and going, "Oh, they're this. Okay, cool. I'll make sure to say hi to them next time I see them. Oh, you're a that. Okay, I'll just mind my own business and walk on by. I'm not going to egg or toilet paper their house, But okay, I get it. You're into the Dodgers. Okay, fine. You stay over there. Um,
I'm just saying that I've seen different homeowner associations. So much of it depends on like the bylaws and stuff. But
mhm.
really, like where my
And
parents live,
all of that, all of that to me, all of that, uh, just just
well,
goes
it
completely
makes
against
sense
my
if you have
chaotic neutral nature.
like I said, I'm not against all of them. It's just that what I've seen for some of them have been really, we always hear about the worst parts. Like for
Yeah,
where my father is, they have it because there's a like communal playground and a few other things, and so everyone chips it. That's the expectation is for the homeowner association to
sure.
maintain that part. But or like my friend has one that has for him.
But if they come up
It,
and tell me I can't mow my lawn on the diagonal, or I can't repaint my house, or I need to do this or that, or anything that has to do with what's on my property because it has to match everybody else's, oh my God,
well,
no.
I so to give you a perfect example is my friend when she complained about her homeowners association, she decided to paint her gutters purple. Okay, they're not my thing, but that's fine. It was harmless. They
Yeah,
flipped out, and then she
yep,
had
because they're freaking commie, freaking Stepford wives,
yeah,
and
but
I want no part of that.
it's the authoritarian, and that's what I said. The problem that you get is when they start getting the finding power to go through it, like and it's just and it's whatever it's abusive. Again, it's one thing, like I said, where my father is. Look, we've got some communal stuff. There's a boat dock. There's a few other things that everyone has.
Yeah, but
They maintain communal.
that's just part of having a nice place to live. Like you said, there's a
Yeah,
park or something like that. You should keep it up and make it look nice. But making like uh, 10 parks in the area and they all have to be identical, kind of thing. No, we're not ants living in an
May
ant
I
farm.
ask you, Guy, a hypothetical
Hmm.
concerning a front yard? So imagine you have a front yard. They have like a place to grill, some place to sit and eat, or something. And then there is a Easter Island statue, like a full size
yeah.
one. Of course, not solid, but like a one. What would you think of that guy?
I'd
I
want to
would
have a
think that
top.
he's probably going to invite me over for luau's. I mean,
I would definitely want to have some conversations with him. I actually have a really neat book on Easter Island, and we'd have that conversation and see what kind of person he was. But I like the idea of everybody having their own individual, unique decorations,
Yeah.
just for the sake of being an actual human and not some sort of freaking clone.
well,
I,
like I said, so much of it depends on who's in power and what the bylaws are. But the worst that we always hear of HOAs are actually developer. The developer creates the HOA. The
Mhm.
developer gets the funding after everyone leaves from the HOA. They install their own people in there. and then they make the bylaws almost impossible to get people together to dissolve an HOA. Those
Yeah,
are
that sounds
those
awful.
those are the ones that everyone complains about. It's usually the ones, like I said, like where my parents are, their HOA is like 60 people. So everyone kind of knows each other in that little neighborhood. Yes, they have to share common areas. That's what they're doing. And they do upkeep some of the, like bushes and things like that. That's a very different type of HOA. And yeah, my father had to get permission to put in which he thought was funny. And he actually became president because no one else really wanted to be president at one point. But but that's not the problem. Is when you get the person that wants to be, I want to be in charge. I have nothing better to do in my life, and I'm going to rule all over. And then they make sure that the people around them can't push them off push them off. But like when my parents live, yeah, there's like everyone has their own individual house because they live. My parents live probably 200 yards away from a beach. The house is actually on the beach. Of course, they're worth a lot more money. But some of the houses are similar, but the house behind them, their entire backyard is full of that they made into a complete garden. I mean,
Yeah.
the 100% garden. My father, he got permission to put up a shed. Well, the shed looked so nice after he got permission to put it up. Everyone else wanted the shed, and so they all wanted to put that in their backyards. That's a very different thing. And of course, there are some things like
Yeah, but see,
yeah.
you said something right there that instantly freaking ground my gears, so to speak. I'm not asking anybody for permission for a goddamn thing on my property. Period.
Well, that's part of the choice that you have of where you pick where do you live. But like I said, is there are
Mhm.
homeowners associations that are good, and there are a lot of homeowners associations that are bad, and we always hear about the bad ones because they intentionally make it so they are a profit revenue source, not to represent the homeowners actually, associations. Um, but yeah, but yeah, it was. But those are just things that you have to look at. And it's the same reason that my mother and I were fighting over. Like I said, it would be nice for the city to allow people to have chickens. Well, the problem was my mother mentioned this is the people who were voting for the chickens were just complete pricks, and so they didn't win. It's like people need to learn. People need to learn their people need to learn how to be tactful if they want to get something passed, and it's not that hard. Um, so yeah. Well, again, the people, like most things, depends on
Okay.
how close you want to be. And I know in Germany, I don't know if this is in Denmark, but in Germany, you weren't allowed to mow lawns during certain hours. You know,
I'm pretty sure there are no direct laws, what do you call it, about that. Like if you own the property here, it's like, okay, I live like in an apartment I rent from a
sure.
company, but here it's like, just don't vacuum after 8 and don't make too much noise. But you can like watch TV, you can listen to music and all that. Sunday, it's like, I think you're not allowed to make excessive noise after 5 p.m.
Okay. Well, so I know in Germany, I think you weren't allowed to do anything before 8 or 9 in the morning. You weren't allowed to do things between 1 and 3, and you weren't allowed to do anything. I think after 6. It was, and nothing on Sunday. It was, and that was the law. And,
Yeah, we don't have anything like that, I'm pretty sure.
Nothing like that here. We've got people mowing the lawn at 7 a.m. and I'm like, good on them, starting the day early, and you
well,
know,
yes, but I'm saying, but this was German law. Germans were real particular about their hours. It was the same reason I used to go there. Like, what do you mean your store's closed at 6:30? Because I was used to, having here. Um, but yeah, well,
nice job.
I mean, there is a
yeah.
reason why what you call the Germans were accepted, what you call into the United States, but they were shoveled off to certain states.
Well, the Germans, to be fair, is the Germans that come here to the U.S. were very different than the ones that stayed in Germany that I met.
Yeah.
Um,
What's
because
that? Well, I can see it's the dice, but like, what's this site?
Yeah, yesterday I got in the mail two dice. I had ordered two off Etsy. One was supposed to be a trap die, with 12 different kinds of random traps, and I thought that was kind of cool. And the other one was a treasure die with 12 different kinds of treasure from variety potions, uh, mundane items, artifacts, items of legend, coins, scrolls, blah blah blah. Right. Well, they sent me two treasure dice, and I'm like, okay. I wanted one treasure, one trap, and I sent them a message. Hey, you screwed up my order. It was like $12 for the two dice. They're pretty chunky. And I'm like, okay, I'll
I
just
like the
give one.
size.
I'll give one to the boy. Yeah, so I have plenty of room. So there's like a picture of whatever. Like you can actually see that, and then the words it says scrolls or magic weapons or whatever. And I went and I sent them a message, and 24 hours later, still no word from them. They shipped it out really quick, and I can kind of see how they screwed up, kind of ish, but not really.
Oh,
Uh,
he
and
got
I'm
he
not
had the
sending,
omen.
and I'm expecting them to make good on it. But then I went and checked out their site to see if they had anything else. Maybe I'd help them out. I'd order something and make it easier for them to ship me the item that they screwed up on. And I don't think I'll order from them ever again. A lot of political stuff and things like that, as well as um, stickers and pins and buttons of trademarked Dungeons and Dragons items that I know they're not paying the trademark for. You
Yeah.
know, Beholder and Owlbear pins and stickers and stuff, and
Oh
they even
yeah.
sent me some.
I wish the Beholder and Owlbear would go into the public domain already. I know
Right.
it won't, but
Uh, Omen said he had to leave. Okay, take care, Omen. It's almost time for me to go as well. But
yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the copyright laws, but there comes a point when if you make something that's absolutely unique, you should have absolute control over it until you die, and then it should go to whoever you give it to, and you know. But that's not how it works because apparently they knew in the future that society would turn to a point where they wouldn't be able to make anything new, and thus they're going to have to like remake every movie and every book so that someone else has something to do.
Oh my god, that reminds me of like so we are going to Woo territory here, but like so there are some people who believe that like when you work with
Good
occult
for you, off
powers,
grid.
you also have channel energies. Oh yeah. Uh and there was like a someone who believed that like 9/11 was the last, what do you call it, energy, the what do you call it? Oh yeah, the powers that be used, like they channeled, and that's why, what do you call it, all their movies, TV, and other propaganda or just entertainment declined after there.
Hmm. I'll have to look into that. I'll have to look into that. I actually recently one of the things I've been spending free time investigating is uh, akin to what JD Vance and somebody else said recently about UFOs and where they come from, because I've known from a source that actually worked on Project Blue Book that was the conclusion that the United States government had come to back in the late 40s, early 50s, and started looking into
I haven't watched his messages. What did JD Vance say to come from?
that they're demons.
Oh yeah.
And it was helping by watching a lot of these videos I watch on astrophysics and physics and things like that, and you can tell that every one of these guys is an absolute atheist because they're missing. They refuse to like try out the equations and the theories if there's that non-atheistic
Yeah.
view, and see what the math comes up with, because they know it would fall apart and they can't think like that. But that was one of the things I've been like playing around with in my spare time, because I want to write a or create and run a sci-fi, like a space opera game.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing the dive into astrophysics, because it's hard to run a game when like whatever laws of physics or realities that you put into the game, when you're like completely opposed to those being even remotely real, like to the point where you like you don't like a certain thing, like
Yeah.
say it's a certain kind of magic or something like that. And you're like, it's it's hard to be like kind of a hypocrite in your game, by saying, okay, all this stuff is real, if you have any kind of lines you don't like to cross. And
Yeah.
so I'm trying to find a way to create the beginnings of a sci-fi story without using all the hand wavium and warp speed and all this crap that
Yeah.
I know isn't real. So it makes it feel more childish and less you know engaging for me, if I'm going to use a bunch of technologies that I know or believe just are absolute, nonsense.
Yeah.
And it narrows down what you can, play with. But I'm almost there. I've got some ideas, and hopefully in the next couple of months I'll be able to put something together, using either Traveler or Final Frontier. Uh,
As per usual, you're welcome to send it to me when you have something.
okay,
And Shadow, my theory about aliens, I have three things. One of them are literally like unidentified like unidentified craft. Like governments experimenting.
sure.
The second one is definitely demons or evil entities. The third one has the is probably there are probably also some kind of plasma elementals that we don't know about or governments don't want us to know about.
I I'm gonna send you a video, and anybody else who's interested. ET Bones Alone crash landed away team that went through a wormhole that disables most of the high tech the party has left. Cool. Um, that that kind of verifies 2 out of 3, if not 3 out of 3 of your theories. But I want to see. It's not just the tech though, because like hard sci-fi is okay, but it ends up devolving into just trade and commerce and
Oh
making
yeah,
money.
my favorite has always been space opera. And
Mhm.
I know that we are going back to what do you call it, cheating with a Deus Ex Machina, but like my favorite thing always to add to sci-fi has been like something like in Gundam, where like, oh, because of this particle, we can't use mass radio technology. Therefore, we are not using swarms, and everything is AI and so forth. And we actually do need soldiers on the field, whether that's through ships or in
Mhm.
case of Gundam mechs.
I was watching several videos on all of the quote unquote space opera and the dips and dives that it's done over the last 100 years, to because it's so much more fun, in my opinion, to run like a Flash Gordon kind of game than a uh, spreadsheet, mercantile, buy low, sell high kind of,
I mean, from my understanding, something like travel that was supposed to be like extra money, wasn't supposed to be the game unless like you literally started as mercenaries or with a shit debt.
believe it or not, I have met so many people over the years that think if you're not doing that, you're not playing Traveler. If you're
Ah,
not trying to make money, and that's literally it, and everything else is just fluff and side quests. If your main focus about the game is trying to get rich, by those kind of methods, you're literally not playing travel the way it was intended to. And I'm like, really? Because there's a whole bunch of archetypal, whatever you want to call it, the career paths, the militaries, and things like that. That those guys, you could literally run, a mercenary
Yeah.
game where sure, you're making money to keep the boys paid, but the fun is going out and taking a job to squash this rebellion, or be this rebellion here for money,
Yeah.
and break out the little tanks and the armored
Yeah, I
units
also
and
remember that
soldiers.
Mongoose, I think it was Mongoose Travel. It doesn't matter which edition. They literally had a setting where, like, oh, this is like a group of like modules, and it's all about being a spy in this cluster.
Mind you, that's Mongoose, which I really do like, because it's so close to the original. But the original, even if you go all the way back to the Little Black Books, Striker and Mercenary and all these other things, there were so many ways to run a sci-fi game. But of course, it was all really hard sci-fi, and there was never any sort of like save the galaxy, save the princess, kind of Flash Gordon kind of, or Buck Rogers. Not quite high fantasy, but you've got a definitive bad guy, you've got definitive heroes, you've got a goal, as far off as it may seem, whether it's like save the Earth from dying in Star Blazers, go find the cure, and have a
Yeah.
whole bunch of adventures on the way, or whether it's save the Earth from Ming the Merciless, or even Battlestar Galactica was a bit of a space opera, the original, where it was find a new home for the rest of humanity, and have like a definitive goal, so that you can play as long as you want toward that goal, and potentially have a cutoff point, and that cutoff point being that you succeeded or failed,
Yeah.
not that everybody got bored with the game and went to another game. Because that's all I've ever seen with most hard sci-fi games, is they have no direction. Therefore, it's only a matter of time before that momentum just
Oh yeah, yeah.
crashes.
Oh yeah, you need direction in every game or premise, even if it's a sandbox game. Because otherwise, you're either putting too much work on the GM, or the players don't feel like they're working towards something.
Yeah, without it, it just will devolve into um, boredom of having done like everything within the parameters of your area, with no there's no if it was a book, where do you end, where the reader goes, oh, that was really cool, and puts it away,
Yeah.
and whether they
I
want a
mean, if
sequel
it's
or not.
A Stephen King book, I usually end like for a fifth through and then make my own ending.
Mhm, mhm. Because
It's Stephen King.
yeah, right. I stopped reading Stephen King in high school with The Last Rung on the Ladder. When I read that story, I literally, because it was in a book of short stories, I literally read the last page and threw the book as far and hard as I could, and have never read another word he's written since then, unless it was like on the internet in a like him,
Yeah.
whatever, saying something political, which I'm like, why? You're like the least
So what was
qualified.
wrong with the ending? If you have a minute.
Pardon?
So what was wrong with the ending of that particular book?
Oh, it was just basically, somebody was climbing up a ladder, and they got to the last rung and it broke and they fell to their death. And it was really sad and awful, like heartbreakingly awful. And I'm like, what the fuck,
Yeah,
you know?
that sounds like something you write either in high school or as a dare, not actually published.
I don't know. It was in a book of his short stories, and at the time, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Uh, thanks, Cal. Yeah, I hate pre-gens. One of my most successful games I ever ran, though, started with pre-gens that I made, and it worked really well. But For me, I don't want to be a bit part actor in somebody else's uh, story. You know, even if I'm the main character, uh, it just feels like no matter what I do, no matter what happens, I'm never going to be able to shake the feeling of the GM already knew I was going to do this, or this is how it was going to end, or thing like that. Not saying that that's what they're doing. It's just I'm a highly suspicious guy, and like even with the AI thing that I was doing, I was telling the AI I'm doing this crazy shit that I know any other GM would go, well, that doesn't exist. That's not there. You're just you're manipulating the story to your own ends, and I'm like, damn right I am. If the AI isn't going to say that doesn't exist in the world, what are you talking about? Then I'm going to run with it, and uh, I like the idea of being able to kind of do that in a game. Not necessarily like break the game or manipulate it to a certain point,
Yeah.
but I want to know that you know my choices weren't predetermined or pre-predicted at the very least. You know that the GM's like, oh well, he's going to run a magic user, so he's going to want to do this because this is on the map. Well, I better get ready for that kind of thing. It's like I want everybody to, kind of not know how it's going to end and see what happens versus, anything else. Because then I can just read a book and 9 times out of 10, it's going to be, a satisfying experience and I
Yeah.
won't feel used. Like Shauna used to say, human die rollers. Nice. Nice.
That reminds me, now that you mentioned human die rollers, there's like a running gag on the Axe server that like we don't need AI GMs, we need AI players.
I was talking about that in my video this morning. That's next is trying to find a way to make a couple of AI players to test out game ideas to see what they're going to kind of run with. Especially if I was going to create a game, I would want the AI to roll up some characters and
Yeah.
see, making sure that it wasn't random tables. It was just rolling random stuff like in
Yeah.
Traveler, but where it had to make choices and see what it would choose, not just in rolling up the characters though, but later on, in the adventures, like, okay, what do you do? And see what the AI would do as, this character or that character, and see if, uh, like I said in the video, if I'm making something too esoteric that the AI would never be able to figure out, the puzzle or who the bad guy was or what they were, supposed to do, or if they would just, do like in the. You ever see that video on when they were making the Lord of the Rings and the AI armies, and that a bunch of
Oh yeah.
the soldiers would just run off and refuse to fight or whatever it
Okay,
was.
that one I haven't seen. But I knew like in Lord of the Rings that they used CGI to duplicate people to make that army, those armies. I mean, but I haven't heard about what you described that they tried to simulate it and then soldier just ran off.
Q1 isn't S1. Tomb of Horrors S1. Not to be pedantic and be very careful in Tomb of Horrors. It was designed as a tournament game, and everything there is just it's one of the hardest dungeons to survive. I haven't been in a convention cal in uh, over 20 years. No, not a game convention. Excuse me. I haven't been to a game convention or in a game convention setting in decades, and even then, I ran a game. I didn't play in any games, so I really have no idea what that's like, other than playing with strangers. And I don't like one shots. there's so much more I can do. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like being in like one Avengers uh, games at a con is on my bucket list. Being in a game with the Dungeon Minister and other folks, but for the most part, every one shot I've ever played was absolutely awful, and I want my time back and my money back.
Fair enough.
Uh,
I mean, that is the thing with one shots that it can be like a good way to test games, but
mhm,
it's not for everyone.
mhm. I'd be more inclined to play a strategy slash war game and feel more satisfied than an actual role playing game because I
As a
like
one
the
shot.
idea of a continuing story. I like the idea of playing that character again with those
Yeah.
people again and doing more than just play through someone's you know movie or TV show, knowing most of the time everything I've ever heard about one shots, they all tend to like take from Call of Cthulhu, and that you're all gonna die. It's just how you die. I got a
Oh
better
yeah.
idea. I got a better idea. How about I'm not gonna die? You know,
Yeah, that's a
you
thing.
know,
I'm too optimistic for a game like Call of Cthulhu. Like I have said earlier, that like the worst I can take is earn you a happy ending, because otherwise
yeah.
I
But if
don't really
there, but
feel like it.
if there's like literally written in like Call of Cthulhu, there is no happy ending, and the only way to win the game is not to play.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with that strategy and just you know go into a convention. I can have an incredible time, you know, meeting people in person, grabbing a bite to eat, going to the dealer room and emptying it out by buying everything out and doing auctions or listening to guest speakers and things like that versus playing a game where um, you know just what I want out of a game is the next game. I want it to
Yeah.
keep going until it ends, and I'm going to play with these people again. If it's only a once in a lifetime thing, I'm going to play with, Avenger and Off Grid and Tenkar and Bloodworth and stuff like that. And I'm never going to get a chance to do so again. Of course, I'm going to jump on that. But,
Yeah.
I'm not really, it's not going to be about the story and the situation. It's going to be the people. That I could say, hey, I got to hang out with you. Yeah, I remember that time you did the cool thing, but what made the thing cool was the cool person that did it, not
Yeah.
literally that you lucked out and rolled the 20. That's cool, but it's not as cool as being able to say, yeah, I finally got to meet someone I've been hanging out with online for years and years, and I finally got to go hang out with them, and then, you know, go grab a bite to eat outside the convention, have dinner, and like, be like normal people,
Yeah.
instead of just super nerds turned up to 11.
I mean, that is a thing. I think about what do you call it, RPG games is tabletop RPG games is they're an advanced poker night. You still come there to play with people.
Yeah.
They
Mhm.
just the reason I say advanced is there's of course more things that go into it. Like you actually need to go there and have attendance and all that.
Before D&D, there were uh, hundreds of games like Pinochle or Scrabble or Monopoly or whatever, that people would get together, and it had nothing to do with the damn game. It was just an excuse to hang out, eat some pretzels, drink some beer, smoke some cigars, and vent and talk and maybe walk home with some of your buddies' money, but maybe not. That wasn't really the reason, whether it was just all guys, like you said, playing poker or,
Unless you're Asian, then it is definitely about winning the money in the gambling.
sure, sure. Or other demographics, I suppose you could lump into that. I really don't know. I don't
Yeah.
gamble, but there was also like couples. You get four married couples. They'd all get together and
Yeah.
play a
I
game
mean,
or two.
games is as a whole as human beings.
Yeah.
and that's also like
Maybe next time, Cake, I'll go that route. Although I'm a cheap bastard, so I'm thinking Philippines. But this is a good time to end it. Someone's, I think, at my door, or I got a package
yeah.
delivery, and I don't want to leave it outside.
Yeah, I can hear the dog is
Really
fulfilling his
upset.
duty.
Yes, Dean, always a pleasure. I hope you have a great weekend. Off
Thank you.
grid, I'll see you tonight. Cake, have a great weekend. I don't know who else was here. Cal, of course, I will see on Sunday. Let's go through real quick because it's only polite and proper that I make sure I hit and say hi to everybody who was here, who I already said hi to, but now I'm saying adios to. Off grid, of course. I don't think we're playing tonight because Bo and Omen can't make it, but I'll still be there after dinner to chill out. It'll just be, I guess, you, me, and Mark. So, anyways, folks, have a great weekend. Love you guys. And talk to you real soon.